Well, if you're living on this planet and you have a phone and you're a rugby league fan, I am sure you've seen the comments of Nathan Brown plastered all over your social media over the last 24 hours. And look, Reece Walsh, he had an unbelievable game. We've been saying this since the start of the preseason. We said, look, there's a really good chance this kid will nab the fullback spot over Jermaine Osako. Osako obviously got the fullback spot. He did really well. He made the move to the Warriors, and he's been an absolute superstar ever since, Reece Walsh. He has been unreal. And last night, just another performance that he just blew them away. He is such a talented footballer. His vision is unbelievable. I thought their left winger, he probably left him with a few less highlights when he kicked the ball inside instead of throwing the pass to him. I'm confident he scores from there. And I just love seeing what Reece Walsh is doing at the moment. I love watching this guy play football. He is just so different to all the other guys in this league. He's sensational. And the raw enthusiasm that he brings, it is just like nothing we've seen before. I love watching this kid play football. He is unbelievable. He is so talented. You got to remember, he hasn't had a preseason with this side. He's just arrived there a couple of weeks ago in his first grade debut. He was a star against the Melbourne Storm, and he's just carried it on. He has been unbelievable. And look, there's a number of guys that need to be mentioned. And I'm just going to play the comments of Nathan Brown from last night just to put some context into what he actually said, because I think Nathan Brown is handling this very well. I know we all want compliments left, right and centre, but Brownie, he's been around long enough to see how this can go sometimes. I'm going to play the comments for you now, and then we're going to dive into them.
You got us in one. Tonight was all about one bloke in many regards. I know that Sam Walker's been very, very good for the Roosters. But when did you last see an 18-year-old deliver a performance like that?
Yeah, it doesn't happen too often, does it, yeah? And the credit needs to go to Roger Tuivasa-Sheck for coming and seeing me with Adam Fanua-Blake and saying, we want to put the kid in the team and I'll happily go to the wing. So it wasn't, I was probably overprotective. I've been quite protective, as everyone knows, of the young bloke, and if it wasn't for Roger, he would have come off the bench tonight. But they were pretty clear they wanted him out there, and he did pretty well. But our best player today was Tohu Harris. Yeah. Reece was outstanding, but Tohu Harris was our best player.
Yeah. I'm not going to leave Reece away yet, but obviously you've been resting a little bit. How do you use an 18-year-old, look after him, but also bring him into a team that's got Roger Tuivasa-Sheck? Does that performance tonight just make it easy for you? We'll play him at fullback while he's going like this, and everything else will fall in around that.
Look, it's obviously next week we'd think he's obviously going to start again. Then we've got a bye, which is great, so have a bit of a break and probably see where his body and all that and how it sort of all is. But Rog plays very well out in the wing for us anyway, and he gets himself involved in some different situations anyway. So Roger's working his way through that, and he's comfortable there. So, but obviously, Reece has got a skill set which lots of 18-year-olds, as you said, don't really have. Young Walker's been doing it, and Reece has done it for us tonight. The young Laurie kid for them is a good young player, And when the Horseman changed all the rules, what he's done is he's enabled these little players actually to get into the game and actually play footy and not get hit in the back late like was happening for 10 years and people getting their heads torn off and people diving at people's knees. So you've actually got these kids that actually can play footy that we don't coach them. They just go and play, and your heart's in your mouth sometimes, but you just got to let them go.
How do you score 2 tries for 12 men?
Look, I thought obviously that period where we didn't leak any points in that 20 minutes without 12 was obviously a big major factor in the game. I thought a lot of stuff they got, we gave, where we just give too much, cheap possession at the wrong times. We give a cheap try from a kick, which we should clean up. We make a line break and we kick it as opposed to pass to someone in like we do things where we make the game too easy for the opposition. But to have 20 minutes with 12 and not leak any points as far as tries go, I think we could feel pretty good about ourselves. But then you see little periods tonight where we have people that do some really good things in defence and they just have a real lapse for a couple of minutes, which at this level, you can't afford to have. And that's why, as I said, Tohu Harris was our best player because he does both sides of the game very well for 80 minutes, and that's, for an 18-year-old, obviously Reece did very well.
Just with Reece, what don't we know about him? I know he's had 5 games, but Are there any quirks about him? He just looks unflappable.
Yeah, look, he's a well-raised kid. He's well-mannered. He's got a bit of confidence, as you'd expect, like he's confident but not overconfident. Yeah, he's a decent young kid, and with all you characters giving him all these raps all the time, we've just got to make sure we help keep him a bit grounded, because he's a good kid, and as I said, his mum and dad he's well-mannered and polite, and he's down to earth, but he's confident, so it's good.
When you got him over that mid-season, was it your plan to get him in straight away?
I didn't know how 18-year-old kids going to go, and unlike young Walker, he was at the Roosters for all pre-season, so obviously Rob on that had a fair idea of where he was at, but so when Reece came to us, where he was going to play I would have thought was going to be the Q Cup, but when he come to training, and after 2 training sessions, it was sort of pretty clear that he might be ready quicker, and then obviously we put him in against Melbourne, and he did some things which were obviously quite good, but he Blake's only highlight all the good parts, so he's got some parts that he needs to work at too, as his 18-year-old should, so, and he's working hard, and he's a good learner and a good listener.
Well, he had try assists tonight. He scored one. There was a couple of try saves that were pretty impressive as well. What did you see tonight that maybe he could get a bit better at?
Look, he's an 18-year-old kid, isn't he? So, when Andrew Johns was 18 or 19, it took Joey about 4 or 5 years before he was capable to take the Knights to a premiership, wasn't it? And he's one of our most influential players ever, So, just game experience and learning, But the defensive part of the game at fullback is really hard these days. There's a lot of pressure on him. And from Reece's first game there to his now, he's improved out of sight, So he's working hard and at that part of his game, and the attack bit's pretty natural for him, But things like knowing what type of kick to do, because he kicks the ball well, but what type of kick in the game situation, they're things that he'll just gain through experience. But does he kick the ball? Well, he kicks the ball terrific, But what kicks required at what time of the game, they're things that he'll learn over time.
Now, I've had so many people message me in the last 24 hours about how much of a dickhead Nathan Brown is, or his eyes painted on, all this stuff. Look, he's well aware how important this kid is to his team, I'm not sure if you noticed, but he moved his best player, his captain, potentially the best player the club has had outside of Stacey Jones, to the wing out of fullback for this teenager, Don't act like Nathan Brown isn't well aware just how good this kid is, And there is no greater compliment that he could have possibly said in that press conference after that game that would outweigh the fact that he is moving Roger Tuivasa-Sheck to the wing. Even though Roger has come and said, I think it's the best for the team, it is Nathan Brown's head that is on the chopping block, and he still made the decision to back this young bloke in, I completely understand where Brown is coming from here. Is Reece Walsh perfect? No. Is anyone perfect? No. He's always going to have things to improve in his game, and Brownie's exactly right. All Reece Walsh has to do is pick up a phone or just simply walk past a conversation of people today that like rugby league, and they're going to be talking about how good Reece Walsh is. Now, that is completely granted. He is a fantastic footballer, no doubt about it. But look, Nathan Brown, he's been in and around this game for far too long. He understands what that sort of hype can do to guys. And you got to remember Nathan Brown, he's obviously been in the coaching game for a long time. He's also played. He was a brilliant player himself too, a great little hooker. He has seen hundreds of Reece Walshes come through, They might not have all made it to first grade. He might have played with them through the junior grades. They're told how good they are the entire time, and it falls apart. All Nathan Brown's trying to do is the best thing by his player. Now, you might want him to praise him and give him compliments to the cows come home. Nathan Brown isn't going to do that because he understands how rugby league works. You can bag Brownie all you want. You can say in the past he shit the bed, he's done this, he's done that. But look, he's absolutely nailed this. I honestly don't think if you had Wayne Bennett in the press conference, he would sit there and say how fantastic he is. He would say there are still things to work on, and there definitely are. No doubt about it. There's always something to work on, no matter who you are. And I completely back him saying that about Tohu Harris as well, that he was their best player, because Tohu Harris does this week in, week out. He's been doing it for 10-odd years, He is a brilliant player, Tohu Harris, and I don't think it can possibly be a negative or taken as an insult that he says Tohu Harris was our best player tonight over Reece Walsh. That means Reece Walsh played a fantastic game. He was brilliant, but it's not an insult. Reece Walsh isn't going to sit in the corner of his change room sulking because his coach didn't say he was the best player on the field. Please, let's not be so precious, Reece Walsh, he has got a smart coach ahead of him. Yeah, he's got a smart coach that's trying to do the best thing by him. That's why he has eased him into first grade. I've been the first one to say I think he should be starting week in, week out. But Nathan Brown, he understands how this all works. Yeah, there is no rush to get this kid at the front of stardom because you see what happens. Yeah, over the last 24 hours, look at all the compliments, look at all the praise he's got, and that's not a negative thing. But you don't want your young players to be reading too much into what they're doing, reading into themselves, because it can be a massive distraction. And with a kid with his ability, he's always going to get huge raps, huge compliments. I think it's very good for his coach just to be staying grounded, just to keep the kid grounded, just to remind him, hey, as good as you're going, we want to see more from you. We want to see improvement. Yeah, the way that he handled that kick into the in-goals that Luke Garner scored the first try, that wasn't fantastic. Now, it was an awkward kick. I understand that. And please don't think I'm being negative on Reece Walsh. You all know I love the kid more than just about anyone. I've been talking about him since the preseason. But don't act like just because a guy has a really good performance that there isn't stuff to work on. Yeah, no matter who you are, Andrew Johns, the end of his career, there would have been stuff that he still wish he would have improved on. Yeah, it's the reality of the sport. No one is perfect. Don't get upset by Nathan Brown's comments. He knows what he's doing. He is guiding this kid in the right direction. And good as Reece Walsh was, there was other star performers on that field. He mentioned how good Roger was. He mentioned how good Tohu was. And Tohu does this every week. And Roger, you know, I've spoken about this before, and it's just got All Blacks written all over it, doesn't it? The fact that he knows how good this kid is. He knows that it is best for the team for him to come in. So Roger jumps to another position and absolutely carves. That position, that step, that move that he put on Joey Leilua last night, that was unbelievable. That was just crazy. Vintage Roger. The thing that I loved the most, though, was the pass on the back of it. Around his body, hitting someone on his right side that he couldn't even see, but he doesn't throw it to the man, he floats it to where they're going to be, and Jack Murchie came through and scored a wonderful try. Reece Walsh, he was the star of last night, he got all the highlights, but there was a lot of other guys that played a critical role in that win. Do they win it without Reece Walsh? Probably not. Yeah, no doubt about it. Do they win it without Tohu Harris? Probably not. Yeah, and it's guys like him that go extremely underappreciated. Nathan Brown, he's just pointing out the reality of the situation the Warriors are in right now. It is not a one-man show. The one man that everyone's talking about, he has been fantastic, but he is young. He's got a heap of improvement in him. It's scary where he can go, but we've seen this before. Young guys come in, they get all the pats on the back, they get a little bit full of themselves, and then it starts to crumble. Nathan Brown, he is doing the best thing by Reece Walsh, whether you like it or not.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
Hi, friends. I'm Miss Danielle, and I'm the host of Help a Human Out, a podcast where we do literally what the title says. We help humans. Listen, storytelling saves lives. Talking about the hard, uncomfortable, confusing, taboo things in life is the only way that we can normalize them, like those isms. Sure, these topics are tough to talk about, but growth happens with discomfort. Come get uncomfortable with us and the experts we find to remind you that you are not alone in whatever it is you're going through. You can find Help a Human Out on Acast or wherever it is you get your podcasts. You can also follow us on Instagram at HaHo Podcast. That's at HAHO Podcast.
Acast
recommends.